This evening, we're going to talk about mindfulness, and we're going to do some meditations. And I'm also going to share with you some slides. So, the benefits of mindfulness, what it is, and some techniques um, to anchor you really in a practice so that you can bring it to your daily life, whether that be a formal meditation type practice or whether you bring it to everyday activities. And throughout this, if you've got some questions, please pop them in the chat. And what I'll do at the end of the session, I'll allow some time to answer as many of your questions as I can. Great. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And if you can just let me know in the chat if that works for you. Let's Great. So just seeing, can everybody see my screen okay? Let's just have a look. Yep, wonderful. Great. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to break the session up. So we're going to have a few slides to start with, and then we're going to do a practice, then have some more slides, and then another practice and a few ones to end the session. So let's start with definitions really. What is meditation? So I'm sure we've all read about it, heard about it, maybe tried it, maybe we do it. But I thought it'd be useful to really define meditation in its kind of simplest forms. So for me, I think of meditation as being aware. So right now, as you're listening to my voice, you're aware. As maybe you're looking at the screen, or maybe you're looking around your room, you're aware of what you see, or you're aware you're seeing. There may be sensations in the body, maybe your hands feel hot or cold, or your body feels light or heavy, and you're aware of that as well. And really, this is meditation. So, what we do in the practice of meditation is we focus our senses towards something. So, it's the practice of being aware. So, rather than being caught up, say, in thoughts about the past or about the future, or even thoughts about now, we bring our attention to what's actually here. So, right now, you're hearing, you're seeing, you're feeling. So, this is really what we're doing. We're bringing our attention into these senses. And we do this, you'll hear me say this quite a lot this evening. We do it in a kind and curious way. So, all of us have minds that will take us off in a tangent. And what we need to be doing is not fighting with the mind, being really kind to ourselves and gentle. And it's almost like, well, the mind will wander off, and it's being kind again. Oh, mine's gone off, rather than thinking, oh, I got it wrong, or I'm no good at meditation, or I can't do this, whatever it is. Everybody's mind goes off. So don't worry. And it's just about going, oh, my mind's gone off. So we can bring a sense of gentleness, maybe a bit of fun to it, and going, oh, okay. And then you come back. So that's just a very broad definition of meditation, just being aware. And you're all aware right now. And it's just practicing it in a certain way. And then when we come to mindfulness, is a form of meditation. and it can be described as awareness of something. So, what we do, we choose an object to bring our awareness to. So, the first meditation we're going to do is going to be awareness of the breath. So, we call them an anchor. And what this means is that when the mind wanders off, you just bring your attention back to the anchor, which for our first meditation is going to be the breath. So it's awareness of something. And there's many different anchors that we can use, but it's that real focal point. And this is what mindfulness is. It's bringing our attention back to something. And to be mindful is to pay attention. It's to be interested and engaged. So sometimes when you meditate, you might feel yourself spacing out a little bit. You might feel a little bit distant from your experience. So if that happens, just go, hang on a minute, am I spacing out? And just become interested again in your experience. Maybe you're interested in the breath or the sounds or whatever it might be. You're engaged. So, yeah, it's staying connected with your experience. And you'll find this as we go through the practice, but you can test it now, really. When we become aware of not being present, naturally we return to being present. So, what does that mean? Your mind may grab your attention, take you off into, say, a thought about the past or the future. And you might go along that path for a little while and follow that thought. But at some point, you'll realize, oh, hang on a minute, I've gone off into, this imagination or memory. And you'll notice. And as you notice that, naturally, you return to being present. So as we do the meditations this evening, notice this. When you go off, notice. And when you notice you've gone off, you'll see you just come back to being present. So mindfulness applies to what we perceive through the senses. So the senses of smell, of taste, of touch, of the visual field, and also of hearing. So this applies, all of these things are happening, and they're all happening now. So maybe there's smell right now, there's taste. All of those five senses are happening immediately now. And so what we do, we bring our attention back to what's happening right now. Mindfulness also applies to how we communicate and relate. So are we present when we are listening or when we're sharing? I'm sure we've all had conversations with people who are present and also who are not present. So mindfulness we start to bring into life of going, okay, when I communicate, I'm gonna aim to be present, to be here, to listen in a mindful way, and to communicate from this place. And then how we act and go about our lives. Do we act in a way that is mindful? Or are we caught up in, acting, if you like, on automatic? So much of our lives, we can do it habitually. But when we're actually present, we really come to acting from right now. And so I'm going to talk a bit later about how we bring all this mindfulness to to life. So it takes repetition and discipline to be mindful. So whether we're doing it in a formal practice or whether we're doing it in life, it's like creating a new habit. So often we spend our time in our mind in imagination or past. And so it takes some discipline to really focus on the present, what's here now, whether that's in the senses, how you're communicating or how you're acting. And just the same as any program that you're starting, it takes repetition. So it may take a little while before you get rooted in it. And at some point, there becomes a change. The more that you're rooted in it, then what changes is, say you were in the abstract, if you like, the past and the future for 70% and present for 30%, with more repetition and discipline, that starts to shift. It changes around, and we find that we're more present than not present. So, but it takes practice and discipline to do this. Okay. And what we're going to do the practice now. So I've probably talked enough right now. So what I'd like you to do is make yourself comfortable. And I have no specific way of sitting other than comfortably. So whether you're lying or sitting is perfectly fine. And the idea is that by being comfortable, you're able to let go of trying to hold the body in a certain position. And what I'd like you to do is just, I've done the kind of intro talking, but I'd just like you to let that fade for now. And what we're going to do a practice where we're coming to now. We're just going to slow down and I'll talk you through this and just follow along. And it's really up to you whether you have your eyes open or whether you have your eyes closed. It's really a preference, whichever helps you focus your attention. Great. And what I'd like you to do is just notice your breath. And what we're going to do is notice the breath in your belly. And you're welcome, if it helps you, to put your hand or your hands on your belly. And so this becomes our anchor, is the breath in the belly. And so anytime that the mind takes you off in a diversion, as you notice that, be kind to the mind and then bring the attention back to the breath and the belly. And if anybody is finding it difficult with the belly to focus on the breath in the belly, you're welcome to use either the chest or the nostrils if it feels easier. But if you're fine with the belly, stay with the belly. And what you're doing is just noticing, experiencing your breath just as it is right now. So, this exercise is not about changing the breath. We're not trying to make it deeper or quieter or in any way different. Just noticing your breath just as it is right now. And anytime the mind wanders, that's okay. Always be kind to the mind and bring your attention back to your belly and the breath. And so, what we're doing is just focusing our attention on what's present now, which is the breath. And hold it gently. If you find you're concentrating really hard, just relax a little bit. It should be like watching a sunset or a cloud. So you're holding it gently. You're not holding it really hard, trying to analyze it or work it out. Just really gently, really softly. Just noticing, just feeling the breath in the belly. And we don't need to work out why the breath is a certain way today, or compare it to how we think it should be, or usually is, or could be. Just noticing your breath just as it is right now. And if your mind moves away, it's perfectly natural. As you notice that, just bring your attention back to your breath. Right, we're just going to do just a few more seconds. And the exercise is really just about making the attention one pointed. It has very little to actually do with the breath. It's just we're using that as the anchor. Now just relax the tension. And when you're ready, if you have your eyes closed, you're welcome to open them. That was a short practice on using the breath as an anchor. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen with you and talk a little bit more about anchors and some different types. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen okay. So, an anchor is a fixed point to bring your attention back to. As I've said, they're one of those senses. So, you are sensing your breath. It could be using hearing or the body, which we're going to do in the next meditation. So, you're bringing your attention back to something that's happening right now, and your breath is always happening right now. It renews every, each breath is new and different. Here are some that you could use, and these are generally used in a formal mindfulness meditation practice. So the breath, the body, could use a specific body part, say the feet, or the connection with the chair or whatever you're sat or lying on. We could use a sound or a mantra, maybe a physical object. Some people use a candle, for example. A little bit more tricky is to feel in a sense of emotions, but that can also be an anchor. Now, formal meditation isn't for everybody, and it's really about finding what works for you. And so here's some other ones as well. There's art, you could be drawing or painting. Maybe you're exercising, maybe you're dancing. It could be listening to music or doing daily activities. So, for example, I often recommend to people, if they're looking to bring mindfulness to everyday life, is choose an activity, say like brushing your teeth. And for a week, just be present while you're brushing your teeth, because we all think about something else, anything else while we're brushing our teeth. And just notice and feel what it feels like, what it tastes like. And so we can choose an activity like that just to bring our attention back to. So it really is about finding what works for you, with that focus of really being present in what's happening now, not our thoughts about it, around it, but actually the experience. And then here's a couple of reminder phrases. So sometimes when we're very challenged, the mind, it tries its best to protect us, and it gives us lots of options, but often we bounce around in the mind, and it can lead to overwhelm or indecision or anxiety. So here's a couple of reminder phrases that in those moments can be really helpful, just to bring you back to what's happening now. And the first one is, what is actually happening right now? So you may be bouncing around in the mind, but if you go, what is actually happening right now? Okay, so I'm hearing, my feet are on the floor, my back is resting on the chair, my bottom's on the seat. You might be out in nature. Oh yeah, I can see a tree, or the sky's blue, or there's some clouds. So it brings you what's happening right now, rather than what could happen, what has happened. Coming right to now. Another one is just checking in. Where is my attention? oh yeah, my attention's gone off in thought. So you're aware that your attention's gone off in thought. When that happens, you just come back to, oh, I'm here now. So there's a couple of reminder phrases that may be useful in those challenging moments. Okay, so some foundations, just really recapping what we did in the practice, really. Always be gentle. It's really the main thing that's going to really help with your practice. Don't fight with the mind. I'll come on to some myths a little bit later, but it's not about having no thoughts or even a quiet mind. So it's working with the mind. Be gentle, be kind to yourself, and have patience and compassion. Slow down. So there's no rushing in this. And we might meditate as well, and we might think, right, I've got to get to noticing my breath. And just slow down, let it happen in its own time. Often, when we start to meditate, the mind might be really busy, depending what's been going on during the day. Slow down and let it come to rest as it does. Yeah, you're not concentrating really hard. Hold it gently, just like you would be noticing a sunset or a cloud or a movie. So hold it gently. We often think of meditation or mindfulness as being really serious. So just letting that idea fade a little bit and bring some fun to your practice. Just go, oh, the mind's gone off. You can make light of it. And just allow. We spend so much of our time trying to get it right, trying to fix, trying to manipulate, trying to deny. And meditation, mindfulness is really just about allowing what is here to be here just as it is and allowing ourselves to be as we are. So your breath is shallow today, or your right leg is aching today. It's okay. We're not looking to force or change anything. We're just letting it all be just as it is. And paradoxically, what we find is when we just allow things to be as they are, there's a release. And very often, the things that we wanted in the mind to change naturally change by themselves. So just let it be. And we're taking a rest from the mind. So we're not trying to work anything out. There's nothing to be understood or analyzed or labeled. It's just really coming to the senses. So there's a phrase that's often used called effortless effort. And meditation, mindfulness is something that really doesn't have a goal or a destination. Um, so we often think of this phrase of effortless effort. So it takes effort, of course, to bring our attention and to be present. But after a while, it becomes more effortless um, as it's as our behavior changes, we become rooted in the practice. So we take a pause from trying to get, striving, or trying to get away from, averting. So yeah, there's some foundations for you to bring to your practice. So there are many, many benefits to meditation, and I call them beneficial byproducts. Rather than I'm going to meditate so that, because then that becomes a goal. So with the byproducts, through meditating, through being mindful, then these things naturally occur. And I've just taken a handful, but there's lots and lots of um, studies and information on Google Guru, and everywhere. There's many detailed reports. So better focus, concentration, and clarity. When you're less caught up in past and future, you're here. Again, by doing this practice, there's lower levels of stress, anxiety, fear, and depression. None of us can know what's going to happen a year's time, 2 years' time, 5 minutes' time. And when we try and understand what's going to happen in those time frames, it creates this anxiety, this stress, because there's so many options and we don't know. It becomes the unknown. But what we do know and what we can deal with is what is right here. It might not always be fantastic, but it's much easier um, to manage what is here than rather than manage all these intangible ideas about the future and also our memories about the past. We don't have control over those. But here, in what's happening right now, you can. Yeah, when we're more present, we can deal with and befriend emotions, thoughts, physical pain, and life in a much more um, gentler, present way. There becomes acceptance for the situations and people that we cannot change. Um, yeah, that's something that just naturally comes. We might realize that we've been fighting against the situation we've got no control over, or um, also in ourselves as well. We become more self-aware. We become more grounded. When our energy is less scattered, we become more embodied. It can increase creativity. And there's a few more as well. Deeper sleep. And it can also be used as well as if you wake, one of these people who wakes up, say in the middle of the night, and we can bring a meditation and then it'll take us back off to sleep. But naturally, as we embark on this process of meditation, our sleep becomes better. Our physical health, when we're not forcing or pushing the body, then our health gets better as well. We find we have more compassion, empathy, and kindness for ourselves and for others. It may bring in insights into our conditioning, our ideas and beliefs. Sometimes we don't question beliefs. Maybe we picked up a belief somewhere from somebody in our lifetime and never questioned it, but actually maybe that belief is causing us um, some discomfort, or maybe it's playing out in life. So when we really slow down in meditation, some of this insight comes to the surface. We're more productive. Our energy's more here, our concentration, our clarity, and therefore we become more productive. We get more done in a more efficient way. It can bring wisdom, inner peace, and contentment, vitality, and wonder. If we really drop down into this very moment, we can realize that this moment's never happened before and will never happen again. This breath that you're breathing right now has never happened before and will never happen again. And so we start to move with this wonder of almost like childlike wonder. You know, a child experiences things for the first time. And as we start to become more present and live less in the mind and more in the senses of what's here, then there becomes this increased wonder. And it may take us on a journey to going, well, actually, who am I? Who is the person who's meditating here? So there we go. There's some byproducts within there. And what we're going to do now, we're going to go into another meditation. So if you'd like to make yourself comfortable, and as we go through this, I'll remind you of some of the principles that we've just been talking about. And so this meditation is going to be a little bit longer. We were about 5 minutes for the first one. And this one's going to be around 10, maybe a touch longer. And so as we start, just recognizing that this is a new meditation. So we're not comparing it to our last meditation, or if we meditate regularly, we're not comparing it or trying to get to our usual meditation place. You're just here right now. And so we start by moving towards what's here. And we're going to use the body for this. And so I'd like you just to bring your attention to your feet, whatever they happen to be resting on. Or maybe they're in your socks or your slippers. But just feel your feet. You might notice that the feeling happens first. And then there's a little delay, and then the mind goes, well, my feet are hot, or they're cold, or they're this, or they're that. But just letting that label fade and just feel the feet. And this is our new anchor. Anytime the mind wanders, it's okay. Gently, kindly come back to feeling your feet on the floor or whatever they're resting on. And now we're going to change slightly and just bring your attention to your lower legs. So from your knee downwards. And just notice what you're noticing. Feel what you're feeling. Maybe there's a sensation, maybe there isn't. But there's nothing to work out, nothing to understand. And then we'll come to the upper leg, so the knee, all the way up to your hips. Not looking to fix or change anything. not needing to know why or how, just feeling, just noticing, bringing your attention to these upper legs. And just approaching as if for the first time. It's not with your preconceived ideas, but just noticing what's there right now. Not in an analytical way, but in a felt sense. I'd like you to move your attention just to your hands now. And if you find yourself trying really hard, just take your foot off the gas a little bit and just notice. And then coming to your lower arms, so up to and including your elbows. And sensations may be changing, and that's perfectly normal, perfectly natural. They also might be still, but we're just letting them be as they are. So we're not interfering, not denying, not trying to manipulate, just letting them be. And then moving to your upper arm, including your shoulders. Is so often we're running around and we don't really take the time just to slow down and check in with our body. Just notice how it's feeling today. Not the mind's commentary about it, but let yourself feel it. I'd like to invite you just to notice the front of your body now. So your abdomen, ribs area, chest, across the front, the shoulders, the clavicle. Don't make any conclusions or assumptions, just feel, just notice. You'll probably notice your breath as well, and the belly, the chest, moving through the body. We're not judging or doing any of the things the mind does, just experience. And then shifting attention to your back, to the center, the muscles either side, the neck. And anytime the mind wanders, just come back to the back. Now bring your attention to your head, your hair, your face, your ears, your nose. And just notice, feel. And then through your whole body, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And staying present with your experience, the experience of the body. And then just relaxing attention. And when you're ready, if you have your eyes closed, just gently open them. So that was just over 10 minutes, and it's called a body scan. Now we could have stayed with just one body part, like the feet on the floor. We could have spent a lot longer on each area, but it gives you a taste. And so we use the body in the different areas as our anchors. That's what it was about. It was about bringing our attention into what is present. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you and just got a few more slides. And these ones are about how to set up a practice. So there's different types of practice. We'll deal with the formal meditation practice first. And these may be helpful. And this may be helpful in getting started and also continuing a practice. So same time in the same place. So some of us are early birds, and some of us like to meditate in the evening. Experiment, play with it, see what suits you best. There is no golden rule. What works for you works for you. It's useful to have a place. If we think of like a gym workout, we go to the gym, we have the same place, we build this routine. So maybe there's a room in your house or a place you like to sit. Use the same place each time, and it will help build up this this habit. You might want to light a candle, or make it a sacred, peaceful space for you to settle into, however that might be for you. No distractions. So, say you start for 5 minutes, for you let your family, your friends, or whoever's around know that for the next 5 minutes I'm meditating. Please don't distract me. You turn your phone off. So we make it conducive for our practice. This is a really key point, because so often when we do something, we start to compare it to our previous sessions or our idea of how it could be. Approach each session as if it's the first time. It will help you so much. So let go of yesterday's practice, which may have been fantastic or it may have been terrible, and just go, right, I'm going to practice today. You could have a buddy or a friend to meditate with. Maybe there's somebody who also wants to start meditating, and maybe you check in with them, and or maybe you meditate together. So there's different ways that you can bring this into your practice. And what I'd say is, time wise, it's better to go for quality rather than quantity. You're much better doing a really good 5-10 minute meditation than doing an hour where you're just bouncing around in the mind. So make it achievable. So we've all got schedules. How many times can you do? What's achievable for you? And some days you might miss a day. It's okay. Be gentle with that and just go, okay, I missed yesterday. Today I'm going to do it. But maybe you meditate 3 times a week. Maybe you do 5 minutes every day. It's really, really up to you. Find what works for you. This is the key to it. You know what it's like in a gym. We all, lots of people, I used to work in fitness. They buy a membership and they think, right, I'm going to go 5 days a week for 2 hours a day. And, a month later, they don't go at all anymore. So we're looking for longevity here. So little and often and achievable. That's the key. Bringing it to life. As I said, there's, formal practice isn't for everybody. And also, I think of practice, of a formal practice, what are we practicing for? We're practicing to bring it to life. So what we discover or realize, or what changes while we're doing the formal practice, we then bring to everyday life. There's no point really in just doing a meditation just to get a fix, and then you go back to chaos again, and then you just do it to get a fix. That's just not what meditation is about. It's about bringing it to life. So a way you could do this is bring attention to your everyday activities. Like I said, cleaning your teeth, conversations, just checking in. Oh, am I present right now? Am I listening? Am I sharing from now? Reminder phrases that I spoke about earlier. Noticing where you put your attention. Let it become your life. I went through all those byproducts. The more you let it become your life, the more peaceful, happier, joyous you become. And for both of these, be consistent, but achievable. So you don't give yourself a hard time about this. I said I started this talk by saying be gentle, be kind, and start small. So there's some tips, and I'm just going to cover just a couple of myths here, because these are sometimes what put people off. Meditation is not about getting rid of your thoughts. It's not about having a totally silent mind. We all have thoughts, and some days you'll have lots and lots of thoughts, and some days you'll have hardly any. That's not what meditation is about. So don't worry, thoughts are natural, it's fine. Mindfulness ends when you come out of a meditation practice. As I said, bring it to everyday life if you can, bit by bit. There are no good or bad meditation sessions. Some day your mind will be peaceful, and some days it will be really noisy. It's okay. It's just a meditation session. And the mind likes to label, well, that was a good one because it was peaceful, or that was a bad one because my mind was noisy. Let go of that. Just turn up from your meditation sessions. You should only meditate when the mind is quiet. No, it's actually probably more beneficial to meditate when the mind is busy. But meditate whenever. The present moment is a destination. It's always here. You can't escape the present moment. Yeah, so let go of that idea that we must get to the present moment, because this is the present moment and you can't ever be out of the present moment. Circumstances have to be conducive to meditate. Not necessarily. It's useful at the beginning to build those strong rooted practice, but yeah, in life we might bring it to these really challenging situations, and that's when it is really helpful, really useful. Meditation don't always feel good. Not always, no. But what happens, we start to accept it just as it is. The mind says, well, it should feel good. But just all of that duality starts to fall away, and we're just meditating without the this should feel good, this shouldn't feel good, whatever it's going on. Okay, so I'm going to come back to you and just see if there's any questions just before we close up. We've just got a couple of minutes left, so I'm just going to open the chat. Oh, thank you. Yep, Lauren's added in there. Yeah, don't put pressure on yourself. It's always be gentle here. Yeah, I will flip through the slides quickly. I realized I've just got one more that can be some helpful resources for you as well. So we all take in information in different ways, and we all find our own way of meditating. So as I'm sure you're aware, there's many apps for that can support meditation. Here's a few of them: Insight Timer, Smiling Mind, Balance, and there's many meditations on YouTube, and it's finding what type of meditations suit you as well. So some people choose apps. There's also great benefit in having a teacher, someone you can ask questions to, or going through to a group where there's other people there where you can connect with, or retreat. And there's a certain magic when a group comes together. There's online groups and there's also in-person groups. Here's a few books if you wish to read them. Full Catastrophe Living by John Kabat-Zinn is a very big book, but a great book. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. True Meditation by Adyashanti. And I've written a book of mindful poetry as well. And all of these will just help direct attention, really. So there's lots of different resources there, and it's finding what works for you. Okay. So let me come back. So Lauren, just checking, will you be sending slides or video to everybody? Or will it be available? Great. Okay. So I think we're just about at time. it's been lovely to share this session with you, and I wish you well on your practice, however that might be. And please be gentle with yourself. Make it work how it works for you. So thank you very much, and maybe see you again. And enjoy the rest of the series. I think you've got EFT next week, so yeah, enjoy. Thank you.